misuse of astrology, to use astrology and go, oh my God, we are solid. We have a guarantee. We have a get out of jail free card. We are never going to break up no matter what. Two couples that are fiery together, they fight like crazy. They cannot keep the peace. I'll say to people, have you fought with this person more than you've ever fought in your entire life? And they'll say, you have no idea. Like, it's just the wildest. And then two windy people overthink everything. They can't make a decision. They have like spreadsheets and lists and pro and con conversations, and nobody can like just execute. Nobody can just like make a move. And it's really, really, really hard, really hard. So, and then secondary ones are like a balance of assertive pressure. Like, what's your balance of power with each other? Yeah. Is somebody a lion and somebody a mouse? Mm-hmm. And the thing that's so fascinating about this one is you might have a really dominant personality, but be the mouse in your relationship. And they might have a really mild personality. I had this woman come to me, and she had a really dominant personality. She was an executive. She actually had a company. She was totally aggressive and like outspoken and dynamic. And her husband was really quiet and mild-mannered and more of a homebody and sensitive. And I looked, and he had 9 times the assertive pressure as she did. It was like as far apart as possible. She had the technique one way, he had it 9. And I said, oh my God, the mouse is like running the house. And she said, oh, Carol, we do everything his way. And I'll say to him, whatever we do, I don't want this, this, or this. And he'll come back and he'll say, we're doing this, this, and this. And I said to her, what do you do? She said, I write the check. I mean, it was just like crazy. So that one has to do with, can both people be heard, and do both people get their voices acknowledged and honored and their point of view valued? And when that's way off, I think of it like the rumor of like Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, you know. Can you tell I like People magazine, right? You know, she was supposedly like totally controlled and like this young little waif who like he and his Scientology friends like ran it all. And the only way to leave a relationship like that is in the dark of night, right? Like the only way to get out is like they come home and the house is empty, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's when we hear stories like someone came home and the house was empty because that person didn't feel safe. Yeah. Talk to the other person. Yeah. And so you want to have an equal balance of power, so both people. Mm-hmm. And then there's one called basically sensibility, which is are you a wild child? Are you conservative? Are you a rule breaker? Are you like not gonna rock the boat? Mm-hmm. So and this one's fascinating. And you and I were saying before we started that you and I are both boat rockers, right? We're rule breakers. Yeah, it's called Angels, Humans, and Demons. And it sounds like demons would be evil, but it has nothing to do with character or, you know. Gandhi was a demon. You know, a lot of people who are trying to right wrongs are demons. Demons look around and say, is this true? And is this for the highest and best? And if it's not true or for the highest and best, I don't care who it offends. I don't care who it upsets. I don't care if I have to tell the queen to screw herself, right? Like, I'm gonna do something to make this correct, right? And so when women are demons, we are only supposed to partner with other demons. And I don't know about you, but I tried to date non-demons. And, you know, I had boyfriends like shush me in public. I had boyfriends be like really embarrassed by my behavior. I was like too loud, or I'd say the shocking thing, or I'd say the wrong thing. And then I met my husband, and he'd be like, go Carol, go Carol. He like loved that I was like inappropriate and like too much, you know? Yeah. He like loved it. And I would come home, you know, demons also have really big feelings and are more sensitive. And I would come home and I would tell him why I was upset about something. And he would go, gosh, you should be upset. I'd be upset too. Whereas other guys were always like, oh, why are you freaking out? Like, calm down. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
And they would try to they couldn't comfort me.
Yeah.
And so this one shows, can the man comfort the woman?
Yeah.
So are they the same, or is the woman of a milder? Again, this sounds like a super sexist technique, but it just really does kind of work better if the woman is milder. I hate to say it, but don't send me negative fan mail or hate mail. Don't send our lovely hostess here negative. Yeah, so it's one of the ways to figure out, are you with the right person, is can you be your wild and crazy self, and will they love you anyway? Or do they care more what the neighbors think than how you feel and what you need? So
I totally can relate to that story because, my partner came home and I saw this product and I was like, they're creating this product and they were like, FDA is not approving it. The ambassador are saying this. And he's like, let's just report them right now. We're getting to the government website. We're doing this together. So he gets it. Love it.
Love it. Yeah, thank God for demons, man. We're the activists of the world and we're the whistleblowers and
It's so interesting, even my entire career, I didn't want to be the traditional accountant, like the bookkeeper or like the auditor. I decided to become the forensic accountant to blow whistle on the accountants.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great.
So I was always the demon and it didn't matter. And all these lawyers would back me up, but I put them in the front row because I don't want to get bitten. And I tell them, you are in the front row. I'll be in the backstage. I'll give you all the information. You're protecting me. We're doing this.
That's awesome.
So I understand the whole being the coal pile, the energy, like just being there. And as a demon, obviously, we don't want to be shown, but we want to be heard at the same time.
Right.
We're very sensitive people.
Well, demons really want truth. They really want authenticity. They really want authenticity.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means breaking down a system or breaking down a culture or breaking down a corporate culture.
Yeah.
If it's not serving everybody's highest good. And so it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you.
So
that was the Kuta, your perception of what had been taught as well.
The main steps of it. There are smaller steps that show is there a foundation of friendship and does the relationship benefit the woman? And then there's a step that is helpful for sex. Like, is there?
Yoni?
Yeah. Yes. It's so funny. It's called Yoni. It's hilarious. But it's basically do your unconscious natures gel well? So when you take your mask off and you're at your most raw and real, is it comforting to the other person or is it off-putting? Does it work? Does it turn them on or not?
Yeah.
And then I love, of course, the 3 special steps, which are basically called magnetic attraction. Are you especially stimulated by the person intellectually, emotionally, and physically? Are you really wowed by them? And this doesn't lessen over time. This is and then one called innate giving. Is this somebody you are happy to sacrifice tons of time, tons of effort, tons of attention, tons of more than ever? Is this someone you will make huge compromises with gladly? Mm-hmm. And that can go both ways, or that can just be from one person to the other. And then there is one called sense of purpose. Yeah. It also translates to mean great Lord, and it makes 2 people feel that extra meaning and that extra destiny together, we're supposed to be together, this extra feeling of rightness. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned from this technique is all that day-to-day stuff, all that, do your family support you being together? Do your friends like the relationship? Can you have smoothness together? Can you go forward? Can you be heard? You have a healthy balance of power. You can have all that stuff, but if you don't have any of this deeper connection or meaning or attraction, it'll be this is a functional, healthy relationship, but it lacks that zing. Like it lacks that wow. But then couples where a few of those really critical things are missing, but it has a few of the, like one or more of the wow things. You only need one.
Yeah.
Rare. It's very rare to have all three, and it's even rare to have two.
Yeah.
Those are the couples that are the most miserable because they feel like they're supposed to be together. These are the women that say, but he's my twin flame. And I'm like, and he's sleeping with your sister, right? Like if, you know, if they have this intense love stuff, but then these basic, can you get your needs met? Can you energetically feel good around each other? I mean, some of the first 5 just talk about, can you sleep well together? Or are you drained by each other? So, and the advice is, if this is who your partner is, like sometimes sleep in separate rooms or sometimes take separate vacations. Yeah. And in olden times, people always had separate rooms. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's not surprising. I do make a recommendation based on that as well. I'm like, if you're drained and you're not sleeping well, I'm pretty sure you're not having sex and you're not practically going to work really well, and it's going to affect your daily life. So it's okay once in a while, you can go hop in another room and just get rested.
Right.
And be okay with that.
Yeah. So the technique's amazing, and it explains to people exactly how they feel, exactly what's going on. Yeah. And that again brings so much peace of mind. And you know what I will say is that love is rare and special and a gift. Yeah. And there is always something to learn. I'm a huge fan of psychology, and I do believe we tend to pick partners that help us try to heal our childhood stuff. Yes. And so I think it's a misuse of these techniques to say, oh, break up with this person, or oh, marry this person. And my one complaint about my field and about our fellow colleagues is that it does a disservice to people to make their decisions for them. Yeah. The beauty and power of these techniques is to tell people, and I learned this from Ernst too, tell people the cost of their relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what this relationship will cost you, and this is what it will provide you. Mm-hmm. And it is absolutely your choice and your decision. And, you know, we all know tons of people and have tons of clients where they regret the relationship, but now they have amazing kids because of the relationship. Yes. And I mean, if we take the really long view, those kids might have kids who have kids who have kids who have kids. I mean, that wrong relationship might impact 100 generations, right? So it's very spiritually arrogant of us to use the techniques to think we know what people are supposed to do. Yeah. And people come to me after going to other astrologers and say, well, he told me I'm never going to get married, or he told me I'm going to leave my husband, or she said I should break up with this guy. And I'm like, you know, I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think we're God, and I don't think, while I think these techniques can make us feel we have insight into God's plan, we're still not God. And no, we're not. Everyone needs to ultimately take responsibility for their own lives and just enjoy the journey no matter what. I mean, if your relationships kick you in the you-know-what and are really painful, it's because you're a human being and you're showing up, right? Yeah. And we're all going to get some lumps. And even when you marry somebody with perfect kudo, okay? My husband and I have all 5, and we have, I didn't even say this, but there's a wavelength score. You get points possible, and at the end you get this wavelength score that's like anything between 0 and 36. Anything above 20 is great. Anything above 30 is amazing. Yeah. The higher the wavelength score, the more you feel like you're on the same page, and the more you have effortless agreement. Yeah. So I don't know about you and your husband. My husband and I have 32 points. Oh, wow. We have 5 of the 5 fulfilled. And then we have 1 of the special connect, and then our synastry is crazy awesome, right? Yeah. And still get devastated by the guy, right? And he still gets devastated by me.
Yeah.
We still totally disappoint each other. So it's also a misuse of astrology to use astrology and go, oh my God, we are solid. We have a guarantee. We have a get out of jail free card. We are never going to break up no matter what.
Yeah.
In it to win it.
Yeah.
Because then you can be lazy, right?
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to fight fair and how to communicate well and how to like be a good partner. Yeah. And so the reason I love being a coach and an astrologer is that astrology gives you the map and the awareness of what is the cost and what is the benefit of this relationship. But then we can use our human free will to learn and choose to make the best of what we've got. And you have to do both. I don't care how high your capacity, I don't care how great your character, I don't care if you have exalted Jupiter in the rising sign, which by the way I have, right? I don't care how great you think you are, you still have to suit up and show up and bring your best, or you're not gonna have a lifelong soulmate relationship, even if they're a soulmate. So.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that you actually only share about your life, and it doesn't matter if you have an exalted Jupiter. I have an exalted Jupiter. It doesn't mean every man who shows up is going to be like that exalted Jupiter, and it's going to teach you. And it's not. It's you showing up for yourself, and you're bringing that, and you're kind of picking up the good parts. You don't always pick on the bad parts, especially if you have a sleepy Jupiter. Right? Vice versa, an exalted and a sleepy Jupiter, and it does not work that way. You know, and I know that you were sharing your story, like in your emails as well, like, you know, your husband is an introvert and you're an extrovert. Why? It doesn't show that in the Kuta compatibility. It would never show that.
Right, it doesn't, but it'll show it in the charts.
Yes, it will show that in the chart.
Yeah, so my husband has Saturn in its own sign, 12th from his moon.
Yeah.
And even if you use the tropical zodiac, which I know you do and I don't, he has Saturn 12th from his moon, right? Yeah. And he has more planets in the first 7 houses than in the second. So he's, you know, that's introversion, right? Yeah. And in the tropical, he's all water. So he's like sensitive. And so his chart is super introverted. And my chart's mixed. I have like, I have both. So I love like our quiet home life together, and I love, like, women will say to me like, ugh, all my boyfriend wants to do is make a big bowl of popcorn and watch movies. And I'm like, that's heaven, right? I'm like, I'm sorry, you're upset with him. Why? Like, right? But I also really love parties. I really love groups. I really love weddings. I really love conferences. I really love traveling. I really love like crowds and noise, and like I love all that stuff. I get energy from that. Yeah. I get a second wind at a party at about hour 6, right? Yeah. Like I'm in your kitchen cleaning at 3 a.m. after the party, and my husband has to leave after like 2 hours. Like he cannot do it. He gets totally exhausted, and that is a physiological fact. That is not him being unsupportive or being a party pooper. Or, well, he is a party pooper, but there's no malice in it. And so astrology has been such a gift in my own life and in my own relationship. Yeah. And these temperament issues are really hard for people. And I think psychology has very little studied that. Yeah. The impact of temperament on our relationships. And that's where astrology has an advantage over psychology. Is we look at what are both people's temperament. You know, I have a career woman chart. My husband has an artist chart. So long periods of time where he's like a fallow field, right? He has to like go in the cave and like ponder and marinate and cook, right? And then he's super creative after he comes out of the cave. But I'm like, come on, what are you doing? Right? So I'm like, work all the dang time. And, and then of course I'm the woman and he's the man, right? And as a woman, I could really judge him for that.
Yeah, of course.
I could be really like mad or really like, well, he's a bum, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you look at his chart and he has to do that. And you look at my chart with Mars on an angle and Mars Vargotama and the sun on an angle and Capricorn and Rahu in the 10th. It's like, if I'm not working, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I see that. And it's the same thing with my partner as well. I think astrology helped me understand my partner. So I don't go into the judgment part. I just accept him as who he is. And, you know, he might have a sleepy Saturn, so he can come off very like Gordon Ramsay or even sometime. And I just have to be like, all right, he's just having a little bit of rant. I just leave him be, and he'll, you know, don't give him a show kind of thing and let him be, right? Yeah. So when you kind of see that, it just helps. You know, when I see that, not only I'm capable, like how you were saying, like, if you're really strong in having a relationship with other people and yourself, and also when you come merging, I call it merge and acquisition.
Because you're a corporate girl still at heart.
And it's like when you merge two companies together, you know, the culture's got to blend. Things got to, you know, something's got to go out. Something's got to be embedded in.
Well, you have to write a new mission statement, right?
Right. Rewrite your mission statement. Rewrite your vision statement. What is the principle? What's really important to you? So, you know, I work with executives and high achiever, and that's where my niche is. So I understand them a little bit better. So when I use terminology, you're like, oh, I get that now. Before you were, you know, when we have to collide together, symmetry, you know, the energetic, they don't really understand those terminology. They understand the corporate terms. Right. And so I work with a lot of like women are considered to be more showing up for their masculine because their feminine is not healed. Their fourth house is hurting. Right. So we got to heal the fourth house, teach them how to deal with their fourth house so they don't show up more of the masculine parts. So we don't really, you know, they don't scare off the men away, and they don't know how to do that because, you know, obviously putting up a wall of masculinity is a little bit better than showing up vulnerable. But our masculine, our anger is all about just really covering up our vulnerability, and it's being hurt and scared. And it's like, we got to go a little bit deeper, and we got to give the tools and, how you were saying, knowledge, skills to get there. And, you know, I do want to hear a little bit about, and then we can wrap it up, about masculine women, because that's where our society is moving, because women get to work now, women get to pay equal, we want equal pay, equal this, and we're showing up now, and you know, there's more single mothers than ever, and men becomes like this sperm donation, or we could go to the sperm bank, and we're not really having a relationship, and they like, I don't want to deal with a man because he's completely useless. And I'm like, well, it's still the father of the child. He has every right, the child has every right to see the father and get to know him, and it's part of his DNA as well, and to show up in this world. So I really want to hear about that as well. You know, I know that you have a program called the Single Syndrome and the Super Kitchen Girl and stuff like that, and I think it's beautiful that you actually have that. And I do want to hear a little bit, and then we can wrap it up from there.
Okay. Oh boy, well that's like a 10-hour.
I know, we can shorten that.
That's a really big topic. Yeah, so, you know, one of the things that was really exciting when I met Ernst was he was, of course, a fan of Pat Allen, and I was a fan of Pat Allen, and he figured out how the CUDA technique works with her work, which, of course, she was the first one to talk about. She's a therapist here in Southern California, no relation to me. Yeah. She was the first to talk about masculine and feminine energy. Yeah. Actually, she wasn't the first. She was building on Jung's work. And Jung, of course, Carl Jung, the analyst, the psychologist from Switzerland, who noticed that, you know, we all have an inner male and an inner female. Mm-hmm. And, you know, other psychologists might say we have our inner father who we've integrated or not integrated within us, and our inner mother. But we all have the whole. Even though your body has a physical gender, we know these days there's who you feel you are, which might not match. And there's who you love, which might be independent of both of those, right? There's who you're sexually attracted to. I mean, it's a whole new world these days. It's great. It's great. But so we have the inner male, the inner female, and the only thing you cannot tell from a chart is gender. So a boy and a girl, twins, can be born at the same time. They're going to have essentially the same chart, especially if it was a C-section, which most twins are, right? It was just seconds apart, or a minute, right? And you cannot tell gender. And what was fascinating when I learned astrology was that just like the Romance languages, right? Just like Spanish and French, everything in astrology is genderized. Everything in astrology has a gender. So the planets have a gender and the signs have a gender. And so women can be born with masculine planets dominating or masculine signs dominating. Men can be born with feminine signs dominating and feminine planets dominating. And then a lot of us are like this weird mix. So sometimes we're one way and sometimes we're another. And when I say mean, and this is Pat Allen language, is positive, proactive, doing, thinking versus feeling, doing versus being, knowing what you want versus what you don't want, being more a person of logic and reason than a person of emotion. And then feminine is all the opposite of that. So it's more negative, not knowing what you want, more feeling versus thinking, and more being versus doing. So the law of electrodynamics says that
if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. If you want my help in your relationship or dating situation, you can always book a time with me. Check out the link below. To stay in touch, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell button so you can be notified when I post new videos. Please go ahead, hit the like button, because it encourages me to create more contents like this every week for you. If you have any ideas for a video, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.